Recording.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. This is the Her Version platform, and it is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named Celeste Houston. Celeste, aka Coach C, is a certified life coach and small business owner. As a true entrepreneur, she has surrounded herself with mentors to help her lead a positive and impactful life. She now encourages other women to do the same. She believes in letting your past propel your purpose and is here to share stories of how her past has done just that for her. Welcome, Celeste. How are you?
Hey, as my favorite saying is, "Hey, girl. Hey, how are you today?" I'm so loving it. I am doing fantastic. I would like to welcome the audience and thank you for this opportunity of letting me tell my story of being honest, open, and honoring my children. My daughter will be 49 years young in the next 10 days. So I have been a mother for 49 years. And I am here to tell about moving from being a teen mom, being a director in a large facility hospital, to now owning my own business, finding my sweet spot at the age of 55.
Wow.
Well, I'm not 55 now, I'm 63, but finding my sweet spot at 55. So thank you for allowing me to do that.
Yes. And see, this is where the confusion lies. You don't look 63. You look like 43. So that, my friend, is the Do you want to tell the audience what we have been going through over the past hour?
For the last hour, we have had technical problems from trying to get on StreamYard to Facebook. And so we had to do it the old school way. Now we're on Zoom, and you'll be looking at this on YouTube. So I thank you guys for being patient. For those who were expecting to see us live, I'm sorry you're going to see the replay. It's going to be a recording, but guess what? You still can engage. And so we want you to engage in the conversation.
I love it. I'm going to say that we handled this so well. We handled this like the graceful women that we are, calm and collected and patient. So I'm very proud of us and the fact that we're still in the right mindset. We didn't let it get to us. We're still showing up in joy and positivity. And if there was anyone that this was going to happen with, I'm glad it was you.
That's right. Because what did I tell you? I am not giving up. That's what happened in life. You learn lessons. Perseverance, it pays off.
Yeah.
And so you have to persevere. It would have been easy for you to say, well, let's just cancel it. We missed our time or gotten frustrated. But we did not allow that to happen. And that's what happened in life. And those are the kind of lessons that I've learned along the way. Even in being a teen mom, if I just to share a part of my story, I got pregnant at the age of 13 years old. My kid's dad, he was much older than I was. And one of the things that I realized earlier on, that my life would never be the same after being a young mom. My mother was the type of person is, if you had that baby, you have to take care of the baby. So it wasn't like my mother was taking care of the baby, getting up. She did not do that. She babysitted only if I had to go to school or a special appointment, but that was my responsibility. And so I appreciate my mother for allowing me to take care of my child. It made me a better person. Although I had to compete with my mother in telling my daughter what to do, because my mother was still the adult and I was still her child. But even in that, of being perseverance, and so one of the things that I've learned in life is, Sabrina, is at every juncture of a woman's life we evolve, because the person I was at 13, by the time I was 25, I wanted something different. I didn't know what I wanted. I came up in an era where go to school, get a good job, keep your head down. It pays off. They didn't talk about the debt you incur when you go to school, but that's something that I incurred. But I was courageous that I stepped out, because a lot of girls at 13 going to school, not only did I just go to school, but I graduated at the age of 17 years old. So by the time I was 17, I had, to be honest, I had 2 children. I was pregnant with my third child when I graduated from high school. I never really thought about life, what I wanted at that time. All I knew is that I wanted to be somebody's wife, somebody's mother, own a house. The white picket fence that most women or most girls dream of. That never happened for me. I was a single mom raising my children. And as my kids began to grow, the 14-year difference, I was a party animal, loved to party. But I remember when my daughter was 15 years old, um, there was this boy who liked her, but he liked me. And I used to dye my hair. And I never forget, my daughter said to me, she said, Mom, would you stop dyeing your hair? Because people think you're my sister and not my mother. And so I stopped dyeing my hair because she liked the boy, again. And that was one of those decisions that, like, that was a sacrifice, that was giving up something so that she could feel good about herself. So, a lot of my life was catered toward my children. And so even in stopping and not even dyeing my hair, that was a, you asked the question, what was a pivot moment? That was one of those pivoting moments for me. Here I had a teenager, and she wants me to look older because her friends' mom, they were older than me. And so she was dealing them navigating having a young mom. It was stressful for them.
Yeah.
So they was like, can you not dye your hair? I was like, and so a part of me was like, I didn't want to, but I did because I wanted her to be happy.
Awesome. What color was it? Like, what color were you dyeing it?
This color. This
I
color.
love it. So I want to ask, what was the propelling situation that was happening in your life that led you to in the arms of so many men? Like, what, not so many, but like the men that created the pregnancy. Where was all of that?
Well, I am a product. My mother was married, but my dad was absent. I think I wanted to be wanted attention. I wanted to be loved. I was lonely. My mom, she worked 2 jobs. She worked at night. She worked at daytime. Poor self-esteem, just wanting to be loved, wanting to be nurtured, wanting someone to be there. And that's what caused it. I can't blame it on anyone else. It wasn't like it was rape or anything like that. It was like that was a need to be needed, a need to be wanted.
Yeah, I totally get that. How did you navigate your children around the same age to curve that or break that cycle so that it didn't necessarily hit them so young?
Well, I think I had open conversations. I was open and honest with them. I can't say that they totally navigated that because my oldest daughter, she got pregnant at the age of 16. So she was 17 when she had her first child. Um, at my youngest son, who's now deceased, he was like maybe 17 when he had his first child. But I was always open. We kept condoms. My oldest son, he would say that you always have condoms here at the house. But that was one of those things that I did, to really to combat the generational pattern of teen pregnancy. Um, I don't know if I did a great job at it, uh, but those were some of the things that we talked about,
That's
you
good.
know.
Yeah. What would be some advice to young teens slash parents who are raising kids as far as maybe some advice?
Well, one of the things that I think that a lot of times parents are not honest with their past. They're not honest with their kids and being open as it relate to teen pregnancy, or we talk about not having the baby. We talk to our daughters, or we try to shield our daughters, but it's important as a parent that you talk to your sons. You talk to your sons and you tell your sons, that don't give your seed to everybody. It's important for you to take care of yourself, because even though the girl carries the baby, it's still your responsibility to help support the child,
Yeah.
because we have too many children who are fatherless children who do not have a father in their life. And with that dynamic, there is so much hurt, disappointment, rejection, and abandonment that kids deal with. And one of the things that I learned, even in going through that, and I see it now, that when kids don't have a good relationship with their father, that is one side, and they can't really formulate a relationship with God because they don't see God as a father figure. They don't connect to that point of seeing God as father. So I think a lot of times we need to be honest and communicate, that this too will come to pass. You think that this person is going to be in your life forever, but that's normally not the truth. Now, in honoring my children, I love my kids. That's why I always tried to do what was right by them, but even being a teen mom, there were flaws because there were some things that I didn't know
Yeah.
that affected them.
Yeah. I so appreciate you talking so adamantly to your sons. I have a son, he's gonna be 19 years old. And I was also very frank with him. I bought him his first condoms and, have bought him a few here and there just throughout the year or so. But I had a conversation with his girlfriend. I pulled his girlfriend aside when they were probably 8 months in, and in front of him, I did it in front of him. And I asked her what she was doing to make sure that she stayed protected, because I'm like, I can only do so much on my side as far as telling my son what to do, but I don't know. Like, I'm not there. I don't know if he's doing what he's supposed to do in order to protect himself and you as a woman. So you needed to also take responsibility for your own body. And literally 2 weeks later, she was over at the house. They were leaving. I'm like, hey, where are you guys going? And she's like, I'm going to the doctor to get on birth control. So I was like so glad that she like took that power, and she recognized, she sat on it for a couple of weeks, and she recognized, you know what? I do have the power to be able to make good choices for my body and not let that power be in the hands of somebody else. So I was so proud of her.
And that's important. And so, one of the things that I did to combat me being a teen parent, I had to have a will, to cover up. So I got into the performance. And what I mean by that, I went to college. First, I got me an associate's degree. Then I went and got an undergrad degree and, just start working and so that I could cover up the pain that I endured, so that people would see, oh, she just didn't have children, but she went on ahead and she got her college degree, and so I began to take some things, begin to peel back, and I began to say, God, why am I so adamant about being successful in the corporate world, going after education, every certificate and all of that. And I had to learn that it was about performance, that even in performing, we cover up, we hide behind things.
Ooh.
So I hid behind my education. I hid behind that I'm not drinking, smoking, running the streets. I'm being a good parent. I hid behind that. And so when I began to pull the layers off and really realize that I don't have to perform. And that's when I found out at 55, I could just become the person that God intended for me to be. I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to share my knowledge with people and what I learned. I remember when I was going to college, I had told my daddy that I wanted to be a social worker. And my dad said to me, social workers don't make any money.
Yeah.
And I was hurt by that because I wanted to help people. And he said, social workers don't make any money. So I pursued business, and I worked in purchasing as a procurement director. I think that was my last assignment, a procurement director in a 953 bed hospital, indigent hospital. Yeah. So I bought all medical supplies, equipment. I worked with the doctors and the medical team. I was the one who did the value analysis as it relate to bringing new product into the institution, creating bids, answering bids. So I had a very busy job. In the marketplace, I was making good money. And that's what I thought success was. But you know what I learned, Sabrina? Success is not about making money. I mean, it's good to make money, but success is when you impact one person. And that's the desire that I always wanted to do. I wanted to impact people for the glory of God. I wanted people to know that you are enough. You don't have to perform to hide behind the stuff. And I think a lot of times that's what we do. We hide behind the stuff, our cars, our homes, the money, the jobs, the titles, and all of that. And that's not important, because at the end of the day, you want to know who life have you impacted. People talk about leaving a legacy. And when you think about leaving a legacy, they think about, oh, I'm leaving a car, I'm leaving a house, I'm leaving property. And don't get me wrong, those things are not bad. They are good. Mm-hmm. But who life have you changed? Who life have you impacted? And that's when I realized at 55, that's my sweet spot. That's what I want. I want to help people. If saying, don't tell them my story of being 13 and having a child and walking around in brokenness and say, don't do it my way. There's a better way to do it. And even today, my children, they respect the person that I am. They respect who I am. But I had to learn how to be a consulting parent, because can you imagine? Can you imagine? A lot of my friends are their ages.
Wow.
So I had to learn to be a consulting parent.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. When you look back at your life and you think about the journeys that you've been through as far as the ups and the downs, what have you noticed over that course of time that has become the first few things that you do to pull yourself out of darkness? You know, you've done the work, you've grown mentally and emotionally, you're an entirely different person than you were when you were younger. Now that you're in a new mindset, a healthier mindset, what do you do now as far as being able to work through those problems or those struggles? Because we still get them, right? Just because we've grown doesn't mean that all of a sudden all of the stuff just disappears. So what do you personally do?
I pray. I journal. I'm a big journaler. I love to write. I even sometimes I talk to other people. 2 years ago, I lost my son. My son was 43 years old. He passed away. That was a very dark time for me. The hurt that I endured during that time period was very tremendous. So what I wind up doing is I went and got counseling. I went and got counseling. I had to have someone to help me navigate, because one thing I do know, that when you lose someone, it's like peeling an onion. There are so many things that you endure, so many things that come up. So for me, at that time, I got counseling. I journal. I have people that I talk with. Matter of fact, I have a coach and I have a spiritual advisor. So those are the things that I do.
Beautiful. What do you journal about?
Oh man, I journal about a lot of things. Journal about my kids, my grandkids. I journal about how I'm feeling at that moment, my desired result, outcome. Like this morning when I was journaling, I was meditating. The first thing I thought about, I gave gratitude to God. But I said, Lord, I want to come on today when I speak to Sabrina. I want to honor my children, be honest, transparent, and I want to give you glory. I was talking to my daughter on yesterday, and I shared with someone this weekend about how I was feeling. And I told my daughter that I shared it. And my daughter said to me, she said, you're learning to be more vulnerable with your feelings than you were in the past. So I have learned in this juncture in my life, in this new chapter, to being vulnerable does not make me weak. I don't have to wear the cape with the S to say that shero. I don't have to be the shero. And so that's one of those things that when my kids were growing up, I said to myself, I don't want them to have a hero. I want them to have a shero, and I want to be that person. So I had to get to the mindset to say, I don't have to be the shero in this story, in this life.
Wow.
I don't have to be the shero.
Yeah.
I just have to become who God created me to be at this point in time in my life.
Yeah.
I don't have to perform. I'm just becoming.
How did that feel when your daughter said that to you?
My thing is, that's my youngest daughter. She'll be 30. She'll be 38 on Wednesday. Yeah, she'll be 38. So she knows that I'm always encouraging other people. I'm always, but if any of my children know me, she probably knows me the most.
Ah,
She's my youngest. Yeah, she's my youngest. So she probably knows me the most.
do you think it's meaning like because the new person that you are right now, she's like kind of seeing that transition more?
She didn't know who I was, because when my older kids refer to me, they all, well, I think it's probably, yeah, they always think about who I was before.
Yeah.
My before Christ life. My
Yeah.
before Christ life, I didn't give myself to the Lord until I was like 32 years old. So by that time, they were 14 and 15 years old, or 15 and 16 years old. So they saw my before Christ life, And one thing that I do know, my youngest son, before he passed away, I talked to him the day before, but one of the things that he would always say to me is, "Mommy, I know that you have changed. I know you have changed." And I tell people all the time, if I know there is a God, because I've seen him change my mother. And that is one of those things that really sticks with me. That's one of those things that comforts me when I think about him or I miss him. That's one of those things that reminds me of him saying that to me.
How did he pass?
He had a heart attack.
Ooh. Who was there?
Nobody.
How did you find out?
My son went there. My oldest son, he went there and he found him.
Wow. How many children do you have? 3, 4?
4.
4 children. Wow. Are any of them entrepreneurs like you?
My son, my oldest son, he is a serial entrepreneur.
Wow.
When I say he is serial, he's serial. He is serial. He always think of something every year to do something different. From commercial property to residential rental. I mean, that guy, he does a lot of things. He does a lot of things. And one thing I like about his tenacity is he never gives up. He never gives up. And that he reminds me of myself, because he is one developing himself, learning something new, you know. So yeah, he's doing that. Now, my youngest daughter, she and her husband, they have a business too. So they do entrepreneur. So she and her husband, they have a business.
Wow.
So yeah, the bug is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bug is there. The bug is there.
So you went from working corporate, you said, making really good money. Where was the pivot for you?
The pivot for me is, I think after I was there for like 17 years, 16 years, they did a reorg in the department, and I didn't like it. They told me, "We're getting ready to eliminate your position." And of course, I tried to find a job, and I looked high and low, and I never forget, I was laying in the bed and the Lord said, after I had went on like 20 interviews, I was going to relocate and go to Florida, uh, Alabama, and the jobs didn't pan out, and I was getting disappointed and frustrated. And the Lord says, "Why you keep looking? Create.
Wow.
And so I started volunteering. At a homeless, it was like a shelter place for homeless people. So I was the intake coordinator there. I did that for like 9 months.
Yeah.
And while I was doing that, the lady that was the coordinator, she asked me, she said, Celeste, this was like in 2013. She said, Celeste, why don't you take this class on becoming a certified coach? I was like, a certified coach. So I'm like, I don't know what that is. When I think of a coach, I think of sports.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she said, no, let's take the class together. Wind up, and I became certified. And I worked in a sober home for like 3 years after I got my certification. I still volunteered at the homeless shelter, but I led groups of people that were trying to become sober. They were dealing with drugs and alcohol. So I began to not only just do coaching, group coaching, I did one-on-one coaching, relationships, spiritual development. So I did that for about 2 or 3 years. And then I started doing it on my own. I went through Thumbtack, where you can get clients through Thumbtack. And so I started doing that on my own. And the church that I was attending, they would allow me to have one-on-one sessions and teaching on just, the life cycle of change. And so I started doing that. And one thing I can say, I love it. People tell me all the time that they make tens and thousands of dollars. I haven't made the tens of thousands of dollars in coaching. I have not made that, Sabrina. But what I have gained is I've gained so much more peace and joy in helping other people.
Wow.
And that's my reward. I haven't lacked for anything. I haven't lacked for anything.
You sound at peace.
I am. Do you know what it's like working with a doctor?
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And not just one doctor, but when you have 75 to 100 doctors and they all have something different. I bought medical supplies, interventional radiology. Neurology was something new that we put in our hospital. And so with neurology, it deals with the nerve system. So they start doing new technology, new medical procedures, and FDA had to prove those items. And so in dealing with the doctors who had been talking with the sales rep selling the product to them, and sometimes the doctors would use it before it was approved. You have to make things happen. So it was sort of kind of frustrating, but I enjoyed what I did. I did it well.
Yeah.
But when my season was up, I was hard. My heart was broken, but I knew that was not the end of my life.
Yeah.
And it gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted to do initially, when I said I wanted to help people. And I thought I was helping people working in purchasing, and I did to a certain degree, but it brought me no satisfaction. What I do now brings me a lot of satisfaction. It brings me a lot of joy.
What sort of mindset did you have to adopt in order to step into this woman who can encourage and inspire other people?
First of all, I had to learn how to encourage myself.
Yes.
I had to learn how to take stock, believe in me, and not have an imposter syndrome. I had to believe in Celeste. It wasn't about, people look at your credentials, but my life story in itself is a lesson. I have so many lessons from the life that I've had so far. that I could draw from. But what it took me believing in me. It took me saying, you're enough. You're good enough. In spite of some of the bad decisions you made, there were lessons to be learned from that.
Yeah. 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I would love for you to talk about what specifically you do. I mean, we're talking a little bit about, coaching and what have you, but what specifically do you do? Who specifically do you help?
Well, my target audience are women between the ages of 25 and 45 years of age. I help them navigate life as it relates to helping them birth their purpose, and just finding the fire within them, to ignite, to motivate, to inspire them to reach the goal that they want. And so sometimes that means maybe spiritual. I help them. Sometimes I even do interview. If they're going on a job, interview coaching, helping them, asking the right kinds of questions, so that they will be prepared for their jobs. Helping them, because one thing as a coach, I don't give them answers. I help them find the answer.
Yep.
Because that's the most important thing. There's a saying that says, if you teach a man to fish, they'll fish forever. But if you give them a fish, they'll look for you to feed them.
Yeah.
So I like to teach people how to fish. And I do that by helping them strategize. They say, I want to go after this job. I ask them, what's the job descriptions? What are the qualifications? What do you think you need to do to get to that point? Sometimes I say, I don't know. What you want it, but did you research it? Well, and I always tell people, it's not the job's responsibility for job development. And I think a lot of times people feel if they're on a job and they want to move up, that it's the job's responsibility to encourage them or to provide that avenue for job upward mobility. But that's not the truth. You have to take some steps for yourself. So, career development, I talk about things like that. Everywhere, if I get an opportunity, my grandchildren, what are you going to do when you get out of school? Well, I want to do this. Well, did you research that? Do you know what they do? Do you know how much money they make? So I'm a prober. So that's what I do. Yeah, I'm a prober. I ask the right questions. So, those are some of the things that I do. I just want to help people walk in their purpose. One of the things I say, living life purposefully, not perfect, but purposefully. Because I believe that when you live your life, purposefully, you're more happy, you're more content. I believe that we are all we're created on purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose.
Yes.
And when we walk in our God-given purpose, we're happy.
I like that. Live purposefully, not perfectly. Beautiful. Absolutely. For those that are watching this and they're resonating with your story and they're resonating with who you've become and want to hear more from you, where can they follow you? Where do you hang out at on social media?
I hang out on Celica Coaching Ministry. That's my Facebook page. I also have a podcast. It's on Spotify, or you could do it on what is that? Spotify or Apple, it's just anchor.fm/Celeste-Houston.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's where I hang out at.
Awesome. What are your
Oh, let me tell you, I also sell women handbags now.
tell us more.
I sell women handbags and accessories. That's one of those things that I start doing. I love handbags, and I never forget the last designer handbag my son bought me. I was sitting in this. I opened the box up, and I was thinking to myself, I love this bag, but I realized every nice handbag that I have, I don't wear with every outfit.
Yeah.
And I start thinking, we as women, we always change our handbags.
Yeah.
And, a little clutch purse or something dazzle or something plain. So I just start buying the women handbags and just posting them and, selling them. And, it just brings me joy. Just, I love handbags, and I know most women like bags too. And I realized I didn't have to have always a very expensive bag.
So is that
That
on
I
a
could.
is that on a website?
Yes, it's YSJ Bags and Accessories. It's on Facebook, and I have Big Cartel. Also, too, it's YSJ Bags and Accessories. But I am upgrading the website, so but you can go to YSJ Bags and Accessories, and you will see the bags that I have, and I always have new arrivals.
What is YSJ?
YSJ.
That's your kids. No, you have 4 kids.
No, y'all see Jesus. Y'all see Jesus.
Okay. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, YS just no. My children name are Vino, Lacondans, William, my son who passed away, and Normika or Mika.
Beautiful. How did William get his name? That's so not just
It's
William.
not different. It's common, right?
Yeah.
From my stepdad and my dad. I
Will.
was in that daddy girl mode when I was pregnant with William, because I just started cultivating a relationship with my dad, and my stepfather, he was always there. And so, just that's what I did.
Are they both named William?
No,
Oh,
my dad's middle name is Joseph. So William has my dad's middle name, and William is my stepdad's name.
beautiful. William Joseph.
Yeah.
Rest
Yeah.
in peace. I'm so sorry for your loss.
It was a hard time, but I had to learn to move forward. And that's what happened when when you have loss. You have to. It's not, you can't give up, and that's one of those things that I asked God. I said, my son is dead. I'm not ready to die. I still have more life. I still have more to give.
Yeah.
I'm not empty yet.
Yeah.
And so that's been comfort. And some days it's not easy. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. What big dreams do you have for your business? What do you dream about?
My dream, oh man, several things. Well, one of my dreams is I would like for my daughter and I to do it together.
Wow.
I would like for that to be something, and I wrote that today, that I would like for my daughter and I to be at the helm of things, that as I digress, she progress,
Yeah.
and she take it on. I would love, that's my biggest dream. I would like for my daughter to be my successor. Um, Either one of them, my oldest or the youngest, but one of my daughters to be the successor of the business. Actually, I'm writing a book on finding your purpose, and the title that I gave you, that's the title, Living Purposely, Not Perfectly. That's the title of the book. And I'm just talking about how to find your purpose, giving exercises, giving tips on how to find your purpose and what to look for. And, just giving stories about, how inventors, invent products, but the very first product is a prototype, and I believe in life, we have prototypes.
Wow.
And as we grow with more wisdom, knowledge, and experience, we become into our own purpose and finding out who we really are, So who I was 10 years ago was a prototype of who I am today,
Absolutely.
because I was working toward who I am today.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Why do you do what you do?
Because I love helping people. I love to see people thrive. I love to see people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
I love it when people come back and tell me, you know what, man, I really do appreciate your help. I really do appreciate you spending time with me. That's why I do what I do. A lot of times being a coach, you're never paid what you're worth. You're never paid what you're worth, but you know that your worth is so much valuable.
Yeah.
And I value what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And when people value me, I'm appreciative of it. And when they don't value me, I don't give them a time of day.
100.
You have to learn that everyone don't appreciate it. So
Yeah.
you can't just give your goods to the swine. You just got to let it go.
Yes.
You have to let it go.
Well, I love your story. I love that you are using your story to inspire others. And, my hope is that women see this. They see the strength, they see the power, they see that you're using your story to propel yourself forward in purpose and inspiring others. There's new generations that are coming up consistently behind us, and they need to hear that you can make it through despite whatever circumstances happen to fall into your life. So I so appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, sharing some of your story with us. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
Yeah. One thing I would like to say to those who will be listening to the broadcast is that, life is hard. And in spite of all of our difficulties, I want to encourage you to guard your heart. There are so many things that's happening in the world, even in your own life, but you have to know how to guard your heart. And when things are too overwhelming, find someone that you could talk with, whether it be a pastor, someone who has wisdom, but find yourself someone that would encourage you, because many times you feel like when you're going through that no one understands.
Yeah.
I want to encourage you. There's nothing new under the sun. What you're going through, somebody else has gone through,
Nice.
and they've come out on the upside.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just passing through hard times, going through the darkness, but God is always with us. And so I just want you to be encouraged to know that you are not alone. You are not alone. You can find your sweet spot too. You don't have to wait until you're 55. You can find your sweet spot just at the age that you are right now.
Yeah.
You know, find it and hold on to it and find peace. That's all I have to add.
I love it. I absolutely love that. And that's the thing. That's the joy. And that is the power of you sharing your story today, is being able to resonate with 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds who are looking around. They're thinking their life is a disaster and it's never going to get any better. And then hearing you and your story and realizing, you know what? If Celeste did it, I can freaking do it too. And that's what's so powerful.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
what's so
You
powerful.
know, so many times I hear, like I said, I hear behind shame, I hear behind grief, I hear behind doubt, I hear behind shame, guilt, you know, being afraid. I would push other people, but I stood in the background. I coached other people along. But I told my cousin today, my first best friend, that I'm stepping out. You know, I'm stepping out. My word for 2023 is ignite, to burn, to set a fire. That is my word. And so, whatever opportunity, whatever venue, I'm raising my hand and say, here I am. You want, here I am. I'm here.
Yes.
That's it. Ignite. I got to set a flame. Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this was so great. I so appreciate you being here. I so appreciate the struggle that we went through earlier and how it really taught us a hard lesson of patience and goodness in amongst our wins, right? We're winning right now. We had to go through some stuff before we could get to this place. And it really rounds up your story and your tenacity and your ability to be able to just continue to get up despite. And I think that your story is absolutely beautiful. And I so appreciate you sharing it. And I would love to have you on stage again at some point. We run impact panels, we have conferences, and amongst all different kinds of topics around motherhood, entrepreneurship, wealth, health, and all that goodness. So we would love to have you on again to share some more.
Sure, let me know. I would love to be a part of the network. Yeah, let me know.
I love it. Well, those of you watching this, if you resonate with Celeste and all of the goodness that she shared today, make sure you check out her websites. They are in the link in the description of wherever you are watching us at. We love to make sure that we connect people here on this platform so that we can all continue to rise. Thank you so much for joining us today here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, reach out to me at hernation.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Until next time, do something awesome today. Much love.